as the podcast suggests, we do both vote in the top 25 voter polls. And one of our other little duties at the end of the season is to vote for the All-American teams, and then also for Coach of the Year and Player of the Year on a national basis. So give me your picks for those superlatives on the men's side.
Well, I think Zach Edey at Purdue is a really solid Player of the Year.
I read a really good feature on him. I'm trying to remember if it was on, I think it was on ESPN.com actually. And it was kind of one of these long form journalism type pieces, it really, and one of the things that was just interesting to me was just sort of Purdue is kind of getting this reputation as a place where big men go.
Yeah.
Because the game has evolved to such that a lot of modern day 6'8" and up guys are going to shoot the three. They're going to face you up. It's a different kind of game. It's positionless basketball essentially. 5 out behind the 3-point line, and then everybody spreads out and people take guys off the dribble. There's a lot of pick and roll. But with Purdue, they put Edey in the post and let him back down and, make post moves. It's old school basketball. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. And he's got really good moves under the basket. I mean, he's got good pivots and steps. He's averaging, I think, 22 points, 13 rebounds. He's been great all year. And to me, a Player of the Year, it should come from a team that's been ranked high.
Yeah.
If possible. And
I agree.
They've been number one quite a few weeks this season. They aren't currently, but and he's a big reason for it. And as far as Coach of the Year, I'm going to go with Jerome Tang. I mean, picked last in the Big 12. Let's see, they went 11-7 in the Big 12. They had 2 players basically coming back. So he pretty much had to start that team from scratch.
In his first season.
In his first season, yeah. Just an incredible job. Although I will say Shaka Smart is another candidate. They were unranked coming into the year, and nobody expected much of Marquette. And they're number 6 in the country. And they showed how good, they showed Baylor how good they were early in the year, 96-70 walloping against Baylor. But I think I would give Coach Tang the edge just because, like I said, first year and nobody expected anything from these guys.
Right. Yeah. I was listening to the Baylor Iowa State broadcast the other day, and or maybe it was another broadcast. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but Dick Vitale mentioned Shaka as his kind of Coach of the Year, which certainly makes a lot of sense. But I agree with you. I think Jerome, we've talked about it here on the pod a number of times, but the job he's done has really been pretty incredible, especially for a guy that was a longtime assistant that, people might go, well, can he really do it as the head coach? Well, I think he's proven he can.
Right. He's really fired up that fan base too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's such a nice guy, so engaging. I love how he gets in with the crowd and dances, and he's kind of finding his own niche in Manhattan.
Yeah.
As far as the women goes, so we vote for like 3 All-American teams, like first team, second team, third team. And I'll say this, for me, the first team was really easy. Like, it was not hard to come up with the 5 best players. I've been paying attention all year, and 2 of the 5 I've seen play this year against Baylor. However, I had nobody from the Big 12 in my top 5. I did have a couple Big 12 players in the second team, All-America team, Ashley Jones and Rory Harmon of Texas. But my All-America team was Angel Reese at LSU. She's double machine, and she does it with long fingernails, which is pretty incredible. Maddie Siegrist at Villanova, who has scored 20 points plus in every game this year. She's just kind of a scoring machine. Aaliyah Boston at South Carolina. She's the Gamecocks' best player, and I feel like you got to have at least one Gamecock on the
sure.
All-America team. Diamond Miller at Maryland, and man, she's really, really good. She was tearing the Bears up when she came here to the Farrell Center and was just holding her shot up there. Just, I mean, she's cocky and, she's good. And then my player of the year, Caitlin Clark of Iowa. So
sure. Yeah.
She's been incredible this season. She's actually an Iowa girl. She's from Des Moines, obviously stayed in state. And, she gets triple doubles. She scores, she was the unanimous Big Ten player of the year in a conference that has really been good in women's basketball this year. They're loaded in the Big Ten. And she just goes out every night and puts on a show. I don't know if you saw the shot, Johnny, that she made to beat Indiana.
Oh, I saw it. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, just kind of a curl, and she came out and caught it and just flipped it up and made a three to win the game. I mean, just she's been great. And so she was kind of an easy pick for me as my player of the year. And then coach of the year, I went a little more boring in that. In that I went with Dawn Staley at South Carolina.
Sure. Yeah.
And to me, it's just in a game that has gotten increasingly more competitive on the women's side with teams, like I said it, I think on the podcast last week, that week there had been 15 out of the top 25 teams that had lost at least one game that week, including 4 of the top 6. They're undefeated. They haven't lost to anyone. And granted, the SEC is not the Big Ten and it's not the Pac-12. It's not even the Big 12. I don't think it's quite as good and quite as deep, but South Carolina has challenged itself in non-conference too. They'll play UConn and they'll play good teams. So, and they're, I don't know, 5-0 or something like that against top 25 teams. So, it hasn't mattered who they've played. They've just gone out and won. And I'm not sure that this particular South Carolina team was expected to, kind of do exactly what it's doing. I mean, I think everybody thought they'd still be good, but I don't know that everybody thought they'd go wire to wire and look like, they're going to go back to back. I mean, that's, I'd be kind of surprised, honestly, right now, if they don't win the national championship. So she's done an incredible job. And we've talked about her on the pod too, just about South Carolina kind of almost supplanting UConn as sort of the team to beat in women's basketball.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier that I like to pick a player of the year if I can from a top team. And actually my first team, I got it right here. Zach Edey, Purdue, Jalen Wilson, Kansas, Trace Jackson Davis from Indiana, Jamie Jaquez, UCLA, and Marcus Sasser, Houston. 4 of those teams are in the top 5 in the country. But they usually have one really great player too on those teams. The only one that's outside is Jackson Davis from Indiana, and he averaged a double-double.
Yeah.
So really great player too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I mean, I think all 5 of mine, 4 of the 5 were top 10 teams. I think Villanova, Maddie Siegrist, they're right outside the top 10. So yeah, I mean, you do have to have, I think, representation on the best temes, and it's not exactly rocket science either. The best players usually make the best teams, especially you put a couple other good players with them. Yeah,
right.
They're tough to beat. So we'll be seeing a lot of those players soon enough as we make that journey up to KC and have some good old barbecue
and a little chicken.
Little fried chicken.